What's up, Fate of the Game viewers? Welcome back to another edition of The Rundown with me, your host, Dalton Miller from fateofthegame.com. Today we're going to be talking about the recently released High Moon Studios developed Activision published game, Deadpool. It's a third-person action game, linear for the most part, and Deadpool is the star of it, which arguably is my favorite thing about it as far as his dialogue and the storyline from what I've seen, and what, if you could call it a storyline at least. It's got some cool things about it. I'm only about 3 hours in at this point, but I'm gonna show you a little excerpt from one of the, I think the second area that I played, just so you can kind of get a feel of what this game's all about. So stay with us. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start off at the beginning here. Just show you kind of the first mission. You get 3 choices of difficulty here, just easy, medium, and hard. It seems like it's worth noting I'm playing this on PC, and it's kind of pretty much a straight console port. There's not many graphics options. Basically, just low, medium, high, ultra, and then your resolution selection. So I'm going to show you this little intro here, just because I feel like the best parts of this game I've seen so far are Deadpool's character moments where he's either having his inner dialogue or whatever, which is not, of course, a great thing to say about an action game. But anyway, his interaction with the other characters in the game, Wolverine, Domino, Psylocke, Rogue, and of course the villains that are featured as well, Mr. Sinister, that's what I've seen, Blockbuster, I think, so far. They're kind of the best part. And yeah, it's sophomoric, and the dialogue seems like it could have been written by a 15-year-old boy. But that's kind of the charm of Deadpool anyway. I mean, he is insane, and of course he is incredibly immature, which is always comical. I've always liked Deadpool comics since I was a kid anyway, and that's my main draw to this game in general. And I hoped it would be good, especially since High Moon are the ones behind the games. And, they've done great things with the Transformers series. War for Cybertron particularly is a great game. And even going back to their first game, which was what was the name of that game? Crap. It's a Western first-person shooter where you're a half vampire. Dark Watch. That's it. Really good stuff. That was published by Capcom too, by the way.
A sewer.
But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of the first part. I skipped the second exposition part, which is just him walking around his apartment, and you can control him and you can click on stuff and he says dumb things, but that was like also 17 minutes, so that was probably a little bit too long. But, so this is just kind of the first level, kind of your tutorial. Shows you how you can wall jump, and you can do your basic attacks with the X button. I'm playing this with a 360 gamepad as well. So there's full controller support for this, and it works pretty well. So, as it shows you your light and heavy attacks, you can mix up with X and Y. And it's kind of just showing you how to do a couple of them here. I'm kind of just doing my own thing. I guess I have to do what it's showing me. You can kind of mix guns into, but they're not. But from what I've seen, I'm going to go ahead and probably mention that there's a lot of good examples of games that mix gunplay and melee combat together. Warhammer 40,000 comes to mind. Totally a B game, one of THQ's last before they went under, but it's totally a respectable game, and it is really fun. That's one thing you say about it. It does a great job of that mixture of the two. Warframe is another one that directly comes to mind while playing this, because I don't know, there's some similarities for sure, but that mixture of melee and shooting is so seamless in Warframe. It makes this, I don't know, keeping the camera zoomed in and stuff when you have the guns out, it makes things weird when that camera pops in and out. Okay, what is this? The bouncy house. And of course, in typical Deadpool style, just weird stuff is happening and all the time, like this, pulling up this bouncy house that you can't go jump in. I'm gonna have to do that right now.
It's the setup work that'll get you all tuckered out. Bounce house.
And of course, also in typical Deadpool style, he breaks the fourth wall at almost every opportunity. Whether it's with one of I guess the producer of this game from High Moon, with Nolan North himself in a phone call in that part that I cut out of this, where he's walking around his apartment and you can click on stuff. And of course, he's always addressing you, the gamer, as well. So this bouncy house has pretty much no point until later. But so anyway, sewer level.
Hey, we don't take fall damage. So
The game looks pretty good, though. I'll give them that. Like, you know, that's one thing I think the High Moon does really well. Is kind of capture the visual style of whatever particular property, since pretty much all they do is license games at this point. I think the art style of the graphics and everything, I think they fit well with Deadpool. Same goes with their previous Transformers entries as well. So yeah, and of course it's telling me now, you know, we got to get you get these little tokens that give you basically XP. They call Deadpool points in this game. You know, you just find them laying around the world, but you also get them from downed enemies. This is your upgrade tree. Basically, you can buy these guns and then or weapons. There's player upgrades over there on the right too. We'll take a look more in depth at these here in a minute, but we can't buy that yet. But, so inside of each weapon has its own little upgrade tree kind of thing here, and you have, of course, your typical damage. You get more XP for using it. I think you can unlock combos and stuff as well. I'll be going with the XP one so I can maybe get something extra and to show off here in a minute. Yeah. Okay, so we'll get back to the game here.
And purchase with our points.
I like to spec my Deadpool for defense.
Of course, you got inner dialogue stuff again, which is it seems like the best part of the game to me. But I imagine that, especially his canned phrases that he just kind of spouts off while fighting, that don't have any particular context, I imagine those are going to probably get old. I've only played about 3 hours of this game so far, and I've already heard the same ones. Oh crap! All right, let me run back up these stairs. Sorry, bear with me. The controls are not the tightest. I turned up the sensitivity a little bit on the look on the right stick, and that definitely has helped. But there's like no real weight to the character, or like kind of I don't know, when you stop moving, and you know how sometimes like I guess an example being Batman in the Arkham games, you know, when you pull up when he's running and stuff, he kind of has a slowdown animation, and Deadpool just stops.
If it were me, I'd chain wall jumps together to get higher.
Yeah, so, and of course he pops off little clips that kind of tell you how to do things well. So,
Press the jump button in midair to do a double jump.
I mean, you got pretty much standard fare here for a somewhat sword-based ninja-type character.
I think I need to make an entrance.
As far as his abilities to traverse the world. And so far, this game is completely linear, by the way. I think I mentioned that in the opening, but it's all level-based, which is fun. But
that's what happens when you mix C4 with a bean burrito.
yeah, and not all of his quips land, of course, but
I'm not the only one with a little
it's still entertaining,
right now.
nonetheless. They don't all land in the comics either. But yeah, your teleport, I didn't talk about that. Teleport is one of the cooler things. Not only is that like kind of a way to kind of quick traverse, but it's also your counter. So, and what I just did there was the momentum meter over there on your left, that's under your standard, weapon selection and ammo counter. You build that up doing combos, and of course, with left bumper and a corresponding button, that allows you to do a power move. It can take out multiple enemies at once. But yeah, the teleport counter thing is pretty cool. And you can upgrade that as well. Yeah, so when you do a counter, it kind of makes that funny noise, and then it doesn't always work though. I've noticed sometimes it's a little delayed or something. I mean, you kind of see that. Like this is definitely an entertaining game for sure. I don't know what kind of legs it'll have, but see, the counters are pretty cool and they work right. But there we go. But so far, I've seen mostly a lot of the same combos and whatnot. And so, yeah, like I mentioned, I think also in the opening, the storyline, if you can call much of a storyline, if you were listening to me or listening to the opening of this, it's basically based on the fact that Deadpool is in his own game, and he's like acting it out as the game's being made, I guess, or this is the game technically. I have tried not to think about it too much, but it's that's kind of it. There's not much of a story. It just kind of jumps around in Deadpool's mind, and he has funny conversations back and forth with that producer at High Moon, whose name escapes me at this point. But so the shooting stuff is the worst part of this game by far. As far as technical execution is concerned, there's no cover or anything either, which is not that big a deal, especially seeing as how you're mainly going to use melee, even against weapon-based guys. Of course, Deadpool has a healing factor as one of his mutant abilities, and they work that into the game conveniently with your regenerating health as a standard trope these days. But yeah, I don't know what it is about the shooting. It's just not very tight. And I hate to keep bringing up other games, but I mean, there are definitely other games that wholeheartedly outdo what this game tries to do. In the same style, even like the two I mentioned, Warhammer and Warframe. Strangely, they both have war in the beginning of their name, but whatever. So, well, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh yeah, you can kind of see also my uniform gets kind of messed up, and it's a cool feature, I guess. But your camera's kind of so zoomed out, you can't really see a lot of detail. I mean, I'm playing this on a 46-inch monitor, so you kind of have to look for it. It's not really that noticeable, but it's not quite to the level that Raven's Wolverine game was, which I thought was really cool. One of the cool things about that game. That game was actually a really good game. God of War clone for sure, but it was fun. Definitely the best game starring Wolverine for sure. In his own story at least. But the way that damage was like, I mean, whole chunks of them. I mean, there are parts of that game where you would literally be nothing but the adamantium skeleton with like pieces of flesh tattered strung across it. It was just really cool looking. You could watch it regenerate in real time after a fight or during a fight if you were not taking damage. So yeah, the kind of mission objectives are just, flip a switch and do something. But there's a power move again. It's pretty nice. Of course, he gives you more tutorials here and there, but obviously the more combos you string together, the better you get as far as XP reward. The other weapons I've used, besides the pistols, I haven't used another melee weapon yet, so that may be cool. They may have their own combos. But the swords are fine. Like I said, they work all right. I just haven't seen a lot of diversity in the combos that are available. The pistols are not the greatest thing ever, for sure. Just the shooting in general isn't. I found the shotguns to be much more effective, but that's because you don't have to fine aim, which is kind of, you can see I'm just not. It takes me a few shots to hit what I'm trying to hit, but can't move here. Take these two enemies out. He has a block breaker move you have to do to those guys that have those electrical rods. But yeah, you see how the camera, for some reason, it goes haywire when you get close to a wall, for sure. And when you go into the shooting and define aim and let off, it went back right there. But sometimes it stays zoomed in, like not all the way, but it doesn't give you that field of view that you have with the melee weapon. So if you find yourself like just after you shoot, pulling your swords out immediately and just to get the camera back right. And, you know, maybe they could fix that with a patch or something. It's not something that's game breaking for sure, but it is definitely annoying. I tried to give it a little close up there to show you the location damage and everything on the character. But yeah, this is definitely a Deadpool game. You do get to play the merc with a mouth if that's something you're into. Like I said, I've been a Deadpool fan for a long time. And I was definitely had high hopes for this game. And I mean, it's kind of a letdown so far. Like I say, I'm not far enough along. Perhaps, I mean, some games, you know, the upgrade systems and whatnot, like it makes the gameplay sluggish and not feel right until you've leveled up. And perhaps that's something, you know, later in the game. I guess we'll find out when I do full review next week once I finish this. But that may be the case. Some games are kind of that way about the way you level up. The controls may feel clunky and not as precise until you have increased your character's attributes to give you like full control that they intended, which is not my favorite way of presenting a level up system for sure. That is skill based.
This must be my stop. There's gotta be a way out of here. Think, Deadpool, think.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna sort of shoot this glass, I think.
Movie solution to being stuck in an elevator in 3, 2.
And sometimes, like right there, just when he's talking, it'll just take control away from you for a few seconds, which is kind of weird. It's not there wasn't really anything story pertinent. It was just, I'm gonna talk, so stop moving.
Maybe if I use my cat-like agility.
You have to use your kind of parkour stuff to get around, but it looks cool, but there's nothing to it. Like there's no timing, it's basically just double jumping next to a wall. But anyway, I mean, it's got some good stuff for sure. It is enjoyable from what I've seen, but I think I'm gonna leave it right here. So that's Deadpool in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. It's got some good things, definitely, but it's kind of hard to say that those, so far from what I've seen, outweigh the problems with the camera and the execution of a lot of the technical aspects as far as the fighting and whatnot goes. But stay tuned to fateofthegame.com. We'll have a full review for you here in about, 5 days. Check back with us the first of next week, and I should have that up on the site. Check out the next episode of Vocal Co-op, which should go up tomorrow, and a new Fate of the Game cast will be up on Friday as well. So, stay tuned, fateofthegame.com. Peace.